In this video, I'll talk about the 2 secrets of complementary colors that you really need to know. And it's in my book, Ellen's Art for Beginners on Amazon. And please remember to subscribe. Complementary colors have 2 very important properties. When you mix them together, you make brown or gray. But when they're next to each other, they sparkle. And I'll go over both of these. So I'll start by showing you that when you mix complementary colors together, they make brown or gray. Here I mixed red and green complementary colors. Here I mixed blue and orange, and this is yellow and violet. And when they're mixed completely, they all make a similar brown color. But when they're mixed incompletely, you get these beautiful intermediate colors. And the intermediate colors differ depending on which colors you start out with. So with red and green, you tend to get earthy browns and greens that are great for landscapes. When you mix blue and orange, you get beautiful grays that are great for a stormy sky. And yellow and violet produce dark mustard colors and deep violets. Here's a great tip. Next time you reach for your brown or gray paints, try mixing complements together instead. If you mix them a little bit, you'll get those beautiful semi-neutral colors. Remember, a neutral color is just plain gray, but a semi-neutral color is gray with a tint of another color in it. Let's say your painting is mainly red and green. Then you should use red and green to make your browns and grays. If you use these intermediate colors from blue and orange and tried to put it in your red and green painting, it wouldn't harmonize as well as these intermediate colors would. So far, I've talked about the first property of complementary colors, which is that they make brown or gray when mixed together. This is the second property, that when they're next to each other, they sparkle. This bright red and bright green, which I call yikes, seems to vibrate. The edges are unclear. The red squares seem to jump around. This is called optical dazzle, and it's a trick that you can use to make a specific part of your painting pop out. But it's no good for the whole painting. Nobody wants to look at this for very long. How do we make this first picture easier to look at? I have 3 methods. The first one is to dull it down. So I added a little red to the green over here, and I added even more red to the green over here. So this green is beginning to look like a brownish green. And the red squares still are very bright, but the whole image isn't as eye-popping as this one. The second method I call the value trick, which is just darkening the green, and that reduces the overall brightness, but you still get a little dazzle from the red. And the final trick I call less is more. In other words, shrink down the area covered by the brightest colors, in this case red. So as the color gets brighter, it should cover less of your painting. So it makes these little red spots sparkle like berries on a holly tree, and it's much more pleasant to look at than this. Complementary colors are common in nature, but usually one of them is dull because nature knows when to turn down the volume. This bright violet is similar to the violet we see on the color wheel. But you might not even notice the yellow middles because the yellow is dark and dull compared to the yellow on the color wheel. It's still yellow, and it's a great complement to violet. These red roses are very bright, but to keep them from being too loud, the leaves are a dull green. Try to be a color detective. When you see a gray background, look at it closely and see if there's a secret tint. This gray is actually a dullish blue-gray, so it goes beautifully with its complementary color orange.